Hi, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of Liftoff with Jeanniey Walden. I am your very grateful host, Jeanniey Walden. I cannot thank you all enough for watching our maiden voyage on season 1 and cannot wait to bring you even more guests, expert advice, and keep this journey going. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's kick off season 2. We've got former America's Next Top Model, director, producer, and animal advocate Katie Cleary. She's been using the spotlight for good as a leader in animal welfare. Katie is on a mission to show the undeniable connection between humans, animals, and our planet in her latest documentary, Why on Earth? Katie is here to tell us more about New York's progress towards becoming the 9th state in the United States to ban wildlife killing contests and much more. Welcome to Liftoff, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. You have such an amazing story and an inspiring path. Tell us more about how you got started in your efforts to help animals in the environment.
Yeah, actually, I started when I was very young, around 11 years old. I grew up in Chicago with my mom, and we would rescue everything from baby squirrels that had fallen out of a nest, or baby chicks and dogs and cats, and we would bottle feed these animals and then rehabilitate the ones that need to be rehabilitated and release them into the wild. And of course, the dogs and cats we would find homes for. So it really started at a young age, but I also grew up in entertainment at the same time, around 11. So I always wanted to use my platform in entertainment, modeling and acting to raise awareness for something greater, which is for the animals. And for me, it was really endangered species. That's how I started my foundation with big cat conservation, the tiger conservation.
Yeah, so you've made progress. How significant is the progress of the proposed legislation in the New York State Assembly in terms of protecting wildlife and promoting ethical practices?
Well, I think that it's gradual. I really think on the West Coast, not to say that we're ahead of the game, but we passed several bills, and I've been a part of several bills, especially the Cosmetics Act, the Cruelty Free Cosmetics Act, the anti-puppy mill bill. The wildlife is tough out here. We do have mountain lions. We've got several apex predators, just like you guys. Though we have black bears. We've eradicated. Some of the biggest apex predators, including grizzly bears, that actually should be here. So, and that was in the early 1900s. But in the East Coast, black bears are, people consider them an issue. They need to be there. They deserve to be there. We're taking away their habitat, and I think the progression of this legislation is, it's one step at a time. I mean, I think it will get there. I do think that the East Coast will hopefully catch up. I hope the whole United States does it. It should be a federal bill, throughout every state. I don't think it should just be state by state. But unfortunately, what we found is that's the easiest way to get bills passed, is doing it state by state. And so goes California, so goes the rest of the world, from our understanding. We've had bills that we've passed being copied over in other countries, especially the puppy mill bills. So, we're going towards a more humane earth, from what I understand. I hope we do. I'm seeing the progression, and I'm also seeing like one step forward, 10 steps back. So, as much as we're fighting for this, there are people that are trying to stop us. And I see the good versus the evil. And it's heartbreaking to feel like we're gaining momentum, and then all of a sudden, oh, someone does something stupid, and then we're back where we started. So it's a constant battle. It's a constant fight. But I always say I have tremendous faith in God and Jesus, and good will always prevail. If you're doing good work and you're doing God's work, that is the most important thing, because this earth is a fallen world, as we know.
Yeah, well, like they say, nothing good is ever easy, and you are making such a difference in the world, and I can't wait to continue to watch your progress and your documentary. Thank you so much for being on Liftoff.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Please check out the documentary, Why on Earth, with Clint Eastwood, on streaming platforms, Apple, iTunes. You can watch it everywhere. Thank you.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're in a digital world and we rely on technology to keep us connected. But what happens when Mother Nature wreaks havoc with things like tornadoes, storms, and wildfires? Those things that are happening to us every day these days. Well, over the last 20 years, weather related events have accounted for more than 80% of power outages. Meteorologist Jim Cantore is the man who is often in the eye of the storm. Jim joins us to talk about what storm preparedness looks like in today's digital climate. Jim, What can people do now to be prepared before any storm threat?
Yeah, this is the time before we get into that. You're absolutely right to have that plan, to make all the preparations. If you know you're going to have to, go to the store and get supplies, do it now. A lot of that stuff has a really great shelf life, the non-perishables and things like that. So beat the rush. Plus, make sure everybody in your family knows that, hey, when I get into this operational preparation mode here, where I'm, going through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to be able to communicate with you as much, but I'll get with you as soon as I can. Make sure everybody in your family knows that. Plus, if you have a pet, if you have somebody with special needs that takes a little bit more time, you're going to have to make those preparations too, and realize that, even ahead of some of the orders that are issued, you're going to need to start that plan and execute it even earlier than you normally would. So things like that to have in mind and to have in place, just give you that peace of mind when the storm comes in.
And how can we use technology in our digital world to help us in the event of a storm?
Yeah, so there's great websites out there in terms of preparation. You've got FEMA, of course, even ours, weather.com, local emergency management. A lot of people don't know their evacuation zone if they live on the coast. So you gotta know that. And you don't have to, if you're asked to evacuate, move 400 miles inland. Just get out of the water. Just get out. That's how we lost so many people in Ian. Okay. They just didn't evacuate and they didn't have the capabilities of evacuating. So you've got to know that. You've got to know that that is a possibility as soon as you get under that storm surge watch. So, in fact, even before that, you should know it right now. All right. The other thing, too, is what about that connectivity? That is key, right? They say location is key in real estate. Well, you know what's key when you're in a storm is connectivity. Xfinity has this feature called the Storm Ready Wi-Fi, which gives you 4 hours of connectivity backup when you lose power. All right. That way you can keep in touch with family members. Hey guys, we're going through it. We're okay. So far, so good. You can watch the radar. You can watch, your favorite outlet, whether it be the Weather Channel or your local station, however you're getting that information, because that information is always changing when you're in the height of the storm or when you're in the battle. So to have that is absolutely essential. And then maybe should you get some damage and the storm moves through quickly, I hope you don't get the damage, but now you can take some pictures, have those ready, maybe even upload them to your insurance company so you get a head start and you're ahead of everybody else in the game. Those kind of things with a storm ready Wi-Fi like they have from Xfinity, I think can really help you at the end of the day.
And I know you know this. What does the storm season look like for our area?
Jeannie, we're kind of in uncharted territory, right? We've got an El Nino, which usually allows us to breathe a little easier in terms of the numbers, but is it going to be a strong enough El Nino when we get to the meat of the season, which is just around the corner? And we have these record-setting Atlantic and Pacific water temperatures. And of course, it's the hot water that fuels the storm. So does that overcompensate for a weak El Nino? A lot of the forecasters that look at the season, and there's about 23 or so outlets that do this, and they're respectable, say, you know what? We think that we're going to have an above average season because of these record setting warm temperatures. Now, whether one of those hurricanes or none of those hurricanes or 5 or 10 of those hurricanes hit the United States, that's the great unknown. That's why we key in on planning and preparation and being storm ready before the storm comes in.
Hey, Jim, thanks so much for being on the show. Next up, more from our friend and asset trading contributor, Jarrett Preston. So stay with us. Our next guest is no stranger to Liftoff. Asset trading contributor Jarrett Preston is back to add value to the show. He's going to tell us more about value itself. Welcome back, Jarrett.
Thank you, Jeannie.
All right, Jarrett. So how is the definition of value changing?
My favorite subject.
I know.
Very quickly. When we think about the history of value and what people thought value was just a few years ago, the big mansions or the vaults full of gold or money or art that no one ever sees or touches, it's no longer today. Now when people think about value, we're talking about contribution of value in the market. Are you a high value person? Is your organization delivering value? What is the real value that you're bringing to the market, and what do people really want today? It's not the old value of yesterday. People want options, they want freedom, they want choices. That's the new value today.
What trends do you see on the horizon that are coming up that people can take advantage of?
But we see people, people are moving out of these significant assets and they're moving into the digital realm, which give them more options, and give them more freedom, give them more flexibility and mobility. They're moving out of some of those single assets into many assets or many holdings. Because again, I think the biggest trend we see is people moving from one single asset into many holdings that give them many options and freedom to make choice, right? That's the ultimate wealth. That's the ultimate value, to be able to do what you want, when you want, right, on your terms.
Absolutely. And when you talk about diversification, is there a chance that diversification can go too far and your assets are spread over too many different areas and opportunities, or is there no limit?
I think there absolutely is. I met a client recently, and his second hand told me is one of the challenges with this gentleman is he has so many assets he doesn't know where they are. He has no idea where they are. This is a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. So obviously you can go so far that you get a little overspread and over-diversified. But I think for most of us, that's not a problem, right? For most of us, it's let's get as diversified as we can, and let's worry about not knowing where all our assets are later, right?
Yes, absolutely. So last question. If you only have a small amount of money to invest into assets, maybe you're young, you're just getting started, or you just have a small amount, do you recommend putting it all in one type of asset just to get familiar with it, or still starting with a diversified strategy and looking at splitting it in 2 or 3 to get started?
I would always start with a diversified approach, right? You never know what one asset class is going to do. There's no perfect crystal ball. So whether you're going to 2 or 3 assets or 20 or 30 assets, it's a much better approach to be diversified than to be sitting in one asset class, hoping and praying every night that it doesn't fall, right? No doubt about it.
That's true. That's a great point. And you always give us such great advice and good points. Thanks so much for being on the show, Jarrett.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeannie.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, if you thought that was interesting, stick around. We're going to have more interesting guests coming up. Welcome back. Melody Shari became a successful entrepreneur long before she was a reality television star. Melody, who is the brain behind Owns Love and Marriage Huntsville, as well as the host of Behind Every Man, recently began teaching a masterclass for entrepreneurial hopefuls on how to get into the business of property preservation. Melody is here with tips for women in entrepreneurial spaces looking to generate long-term wealth. Welcome to Liftoff, Melody.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
So excited to have you on because I've been dying to ask you, what in the heck does generational wealth mean to you, especially as a Black woman today?
Yes, absolutely. So I have 4 beautiful babies. They're 11, 10, 7, and 3. And when I think about generational wealth, I think about what am I leaving behind that can continue to flow for generations to come, right? Because that is how you build wealth. Having different investments, having different streams of income. Last night, my children and I were packing. I have a skincare line, and we were packing orders. And my son is really great at organizing, the products. And I said, you know what? You're our inventory specialist. That's what you are. And I teach them and train them on how to do and run the business. So that way, when I'm no longer here, guess what? The business will continue under their leadership. And as you pass that wealth down, right? I've been able to, make over $1 million already with my skincare. I just launched it last year. And so continuing to, give great product that is natural, paraben free, and building a strong customer base, that's something they'll be able to have as well as they grow up.
I love it. And I have 5 kids, but ever since my oldest daughter was born, I have been bringing any child to work with me or on any experiences whenever I can for that same reason. But how can entrepreneurs of all kinds use generation wealth as a starting point and a goal for their careers?
So, what I would say to that is, unfortunately, we haven't been taught a lot about generational wealth, right? Especially in the African American community. And so we have to put in the time, put in the effort, put in the energy to really learn what generational wealth is to us individually and what that looks like and how we can meet those goals. When you don't know, right? So one of the big things for me has been surrounding myself with individuals who have already mastered the lane of building generational wealth, right? They have stocks and bonds and trust, right? Something that we don't talk about a lot in our particular community. And by way of that, they're leaving a legacy. And that's what I want to do for my children, is leave a legacy.
I love it. It's such a great and powerful goal. And I think every single one of us and all of the viewers should have that goal for us and for our families. So, if you had to sum it up, what are your best tips for women in entrepreneurial spaces who are looking to generate long term wealth? Give me three things.
What I would say is, for one, think outside the box, right? Be willing to take a chance on you, bet on you. So many times as women, we're willing to help and bet on everybody else. But when it comes to us, right, we don't want to do it. We get scared and we're fearful and we're afraid. Take a chance and bet on yourself. Two, surround yourself with people who are more knowledgeable than you are, and their strength is maybe your weakness, right? Because then when you bring in the people who have the strengths where you're weak, then guess what? You're unstoppable. And I think that's what we all strive to be, right? Is we want to feel and know that we're unstoppable, that anything we do, anything we set our mind to, we can accomplish it, right? And then number three, always be willing to not only learn, but then to also give back and teach. And that's what I do with my masterclass. I have created over 700 entrepreneurs in the last 3 years. And I love spending time with them on Monday nights and giving them the tools to be successful in this multi-billion-dollar industry called property preservation.
Well, this was a sneak peek into your masterclass, I'm sure. So, Melody, thank you for such great information. And thank you so much for being on Liftoff.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, everybody, there's more great guests like Melody to come, so stay with us. Welcome back. Steve Davis founded GenTech Creative Concepts in 2022. His passion is to help small businesses, medium enterprises, and companies of all sizes develop and grow across the digital space while simultaneously being the best dad ever. What started as an entrepreneurial aspiration many years ago has led down a pathway and a journey to founding an agency and helping businesses achieve their goals in the digital space. Steve, I'm so excited to have you on Liftoff today, not just because you're my guest, but because you're actually helping me, small business, with my website as well.
Yes, very excited to be here. Thank you, Jeannie, and very excited to help you out.
Yes, and I can't wait to debut the new website with this interview, so it's perfect timing.
Yes, it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
It's going to freshen things up.
Absolutely, but we also have more in common than just small business owners. We also love work-life balance, and we love managing a family and a career. So you're a dad and an entrepreneur. What drives you to want to do it all?
The children, always the children. My family always are my driving force behind anything that I do. Definitely my reason, my purpose for doing anything.
It's so great, right?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Nothing better than being a father.
And we've talked about this on the podcast when you were my podcast guest. We talked about why you created your agency, and I was so impressed that I asked you to now create my website, because your story of how you got to where you are and your testimonials about how you've helped people was really a true inspiration. Tell all the viewers, really quickly, what led you down the path to do what you're doing today, and where do you see the most benefit in the clients that you help?
So in my career, I had been just helping develop businesses so much with growth, with expansion, to where I was a multi-practice manager in the optometry field in a growing business, where I realized that I could actually do this on my own. I could help other businesses in those fields and other fields grow, especially in this digital space, in this digital world, and the way things are moving forward.
And so now you're owning this business, you're owning this journey. How do you stay on top of the trends?
So it's always about our team, right? You can't do it on your own. So I am collaborated with other business owners, joint ventures, strategic partnerships that allow us to continue moving forward with the market using tools such as AI. A lot of people have heard of ChatGPT. They know it's upgraded to GPT-4. My team is immersed across the board through over 40 different ones, whether it's creative or writing copy with human assistance, things of that nature.
And with the emergence of technology happening so quickly, how do you stay competitive with that and also the best dad ever?
Excuse me. So, I mean, being competitive with other people, it's not so much about that drives me. I'm looking for the right partnership. I'm always looking for the right client. We need to make sure that we fit together. And then working with my partners and with my team to just staying on top of trends and topics, whether it's social media research, for such things as hashtag strategy and making creatives to running ads and making sure that we're always testing different angles and doing industry research for our clients and their competitors. So that's where we're at.
And then do you turn it all off at the end of the day, spend time with the kids? Do you bring them with you into your work day? How's it all fit in?
So I actually do get to the point where I shut it off. I have to, because my kids need my attention, and I am very involved with them to the point where I will be one of my children's coaches on the soccer field this year.
That's awesome.
So very exciting, yes.
And were you a soccer player when you were younger?
I was, did play soccer for many seasons, many other sports as well, basketball, archery, name a few.
Right.
Yeah, so excited to be back in this as a coach, back to the sports as a coach, teaching my kids and helping other kids grow and learn.
Yeah, well, a lot of times we have incredibly entrepreneurial, successful women talking about work-life balance, but I got to ask, as an incredibly entrepreneurial, successful man, what's your one biggest piece of advice for other men out there who are trying to balance it all?
So, especially as a father, be there. Absolutely be there. It's the number one thing you can do. And get involved with your children. I have daughters, I have sons. They all require different needs and they have different interests. So just be involved and be a good listener when your kids are talking to you.
Super advice, whether you're a man, a woman, or a bunny.
Or a bunny.
Or a bunny.
One of which we have.
Yeah. Well, good. I have two. We've won. See, more things we have in common.
Yes.
Steve, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for helping us with our website. And I can't wait to watch your continued career.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me today.
All right, everybody. Stay tuned. We will be right back. We are back. Some of our audience may remember our inspiring interview with Captain Sandy Yawn last episode. Well, Captain Sandy and I really hit it off, and we're so excited to welcome her partner, Leah Rae, entrepreneur and renowned former gospel singer with 6 albums and life partner to Captain Sandy, here on Liftoff. Welcome to the show, Leah.
Hi, thank you so much. I love that introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, of course, you and Sandy are just amazing people, and we couldn't wait to get your story on the show. So, Leah, you started out as a gospel singer and had quite a career for 30 years. Tell us more about that and how coming out has affected your career.
Definitely. So I was a gospel singer 30 years in all the mega churches, toured the USA, did 6 albums. But I was suffering inside because I wasn't really being true to myself. And in the religious sector, being with same sex is a huge no-no. So I was afraid to really share what I was struggling with. And I won't bore you with all the details, but decided to leave the marriage. And I came out with Sandy. She met me singing at the Bronco games, and that was it. And I had a feeling, but literally overnight when it was published, my gospel career ended overnight. They literally shipped my music back to my doorsteps. They pulled all my music off the Christian radio stations and canceled all tours. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Wow. I can't even imagine how, just to be your authentic and true self, causes such damage from an entire kind of industry. But
yeah,
I know you're so happy now, and so many great things are happening to you, with you. Talk a little bit about how your life change and coming out with Captain Sandy has helped others, because I think it's an inspiration.
It helped my daughter, actually. My daughter just actually came out to me, and she came up to me because at first I thought I was really messing her life up and I had all this guilt and stuff. And lo and behold, she's been like gay her whole life. I'm not really a label person, but she came to me and said, "Thank you, Mom." I said, "For what?" She said, "For being brave." She goes, "If you were still in the churches, I probably would have never been able to be myself and come out to you. So thank you." So, we're all living our authentic self. We're all happy. It's not been easy at all. But I mean, my dad passed away of COVID, and the church even said that it was because of my sin. So I've had to really deal with just kind of twisted backward thinking and realize like that is not love, and that is not anything I choose to be a part of any longer in that way.
Yeah, I like I said, I can't imagine. My daughter is trans, and you know, the challenges that she faces daily, and the love that we just bring around her and support as a family, it really makes such a difference. And
It's
when you,
everything.
yeah, when you see the impact that you're having on people and how you can just inspire others to have the courage to
Mhm.
say who they really are, I mean, it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I know that you're doing that. It's so great to hear the story about your daughter. And you've since moved from gospel into being a skin and beauty expert. And I know you love working with teens. Tell us
Yeah.
about, you know, how you're really following your passion and helping teens and people with skin issues, and all about, you know, Skin by Leah.
Yes, thank you. I've been in the beauty industry for 30 years as well. So I was a makeup artist. So being a singer, that helps because I could do my own makeup and my own skin. So I worked in the skincare industry from the age of 19. So I've always been passionate about it. Thank God for the beauty industry because I did have that to fall back on. I opened a skin studio right away and I love it. I mean, I'm here in Colorado in Lone Tree. I now offer virtual consultations. I just did a consult with a woman from Australia who was really suffering. And now I'm kind of labeled the skin therapist because it is a therapy session, also, not just products and everything, but you hear people's life stories and why their skin is breaking out. Well, maybe it's because of, you know, how they feel on the inside and their diet and just hormones and all of that. And especially teenagers, as you know, because we're both, you know, moms,
Yep.
it can be difficult, you know. So I have a huge passion for teens because I struggled with acne as a teenager. So yeah, I love what I do.
It was inspiring having you on. Thank you for coming and joining us on Lift Up. Can't wait to hang out with you and Sandy soon.
Yeah, on the boat.
Done. All right. Well, until I'm on that boat, I'm going to be here at the show. So stay tuned because we'll be right back. Well, that's it for us today here on Liftoff. But before we say goodbye, you all know I love to bring audience members in to get their take on today's show. Today, I brought some very special and unique audience members, my bunnies, Lulu and Charlie. Say hi, guys. You're on TV. Hi. All right. What do you guys think about the show? Did you love it, Lulu? Did you love it, Charlie? Yes. They don't say too much out loud, but they secretly told me they loved it. But as much as I want to hear from them, I'd love to hear from you. So follow us on social, give us your thoughts, give us your ideas for content, tips, and tell us what you want to see happening behind the scenes. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and by the way, thank Amaya for holding Charlie, and thank the team at Anacuffed for sending this amazing small animal playpen. This bunny, guinea pig, and small animal playpen is durable, it's waterproof, and it holds up. In fact, Charlie and Lulu hung out all day while we were taping just to wait for their very own TV debut. You can find it on Amazon, and they have their own Amazon store. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. Let's go get some carrots. All right, everybody. See you next time.
The proceeding was sponsored by Liftoff Enterprises, LLC.